I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is FTB Genesis. Now, starting off today, oh boy, are we going to get into some IC2. Now, first things first, I started up wrench synthesis. That's right, this is how we're going to get a wrench that is going to be so nice, making sure that we don't break the current machines that we have if we need to move them. And I'm sure we're going to need to move them at some point. So, what are we going to do today with IC2? Well, I'm glad you asked. Essentially, our goal is to finish up the steel production, which we're very close to doing, and we need to get to the I'm firing my laser section. And this right here is going to lead us into applied energistics eventually, which is going to be perfect. Now, we have to build up a little bit more infrastructure with IC2 before we can do this, because we need to power this machine. This is a molecular transformer, and ultimately, it's what we're going to try to achieve today. Now, don't let this thing fool you, because it is full of all kinds of things we need to craft. Well, first of all, being advanced machine blocks, which mean we need advanced alloy plates and carbon, and we're gonna need quite a few of these things. Now, the machine block, that's quite simple, but getting these advanced alloy plates and also the carbon plates can be kind of time consuming, and I think that we're gonna have a little bit of help with that. Now, as far as the energy crystals, those are pretty simple, and advanced circuits are pretty simple. But this MT core is something different. This requires reinforced glass, and this is even more of this advanced plating. Thankfully, we don't need too much of it. But we do need an engineer's processor. And this is something that we set up last episode with Pneumaticraft. And this is why it was so important that we had this setup going, because this is how you make and assemble your processors for applied energistics. They have to go through the assembly process of Pneumaticraft. And now the printed engineer circuit, these are basic inscribers. You can inscribe these normally, but ultimately, when everything is done, when you're done with this process, same with the silicon here, or silicon, it's the exact same process. They need to go through the inscriber, and then all of them need to end up here. So this is pretty cool. This is going to be a pretty cool setup, and we already have most of our stuff done. However, we need to get into more advanced machines with IC2 so we can make those process of getting those plates and all of these things. The advanced polymers, yeah, we're going to get those. Look at this, by the way. We get quite a few upgrades, and this is going to be very, very handy. Now, I mentioned earlier, it says we need to finish up our steel, and we need to be able to make steel, which is going to lead into some other things later on down the road. And to do that, we need an alloy smelter, and we're actually at the point where we can make an alloy smelter no problem. And we could have made one a while ago, but I wanted to save it for this point. Now, I just finished crafting up the alloy smelter and the advanced circuit, and this allows me to complete these two tasks. And it's actually going to be really important. So it gives us an overclocker upgrade, and it gives us a transformer upgrade. Now, the transformer upgrade may seem a little bit confusing, but the transformer upgrade is essentially going to take a base machine, such as this alloy smelter, and allow us to send more power into it, such as the item that we're just given, the MV flux. So you have three different tiers of levels of power. You have your LV, MV, and then your HV. So high voltage, medium voltage, and low voltage. Now, it's kind of important to make sure you're only giving the machine the power that it needs if it's on that tier. So for example, the low tier, which we're sending right now with the copper, we're using an LV converter to send it low voltage power. But if I was to send this machine medium voltage, it could blow up or it could fry out the cables. So that's something you need to keep in mind. And this would essentially, if I put this upgrade in here, it would allow me to now send medium voltage to this machine. So that's sort of an important upgrade, I would say, to send to this. Now, this is interesting because I think I've encountered this problem before in the past, and then now there's a fix for it where I've accidentally pulled out a transformer upgrade and my machine blew up. So in this case, it's locked. So we have to left alt to be able to pull it out of the machine. That is such a nice safety feature, because I can only imagine putting this in, feeding it power, and then accidentally pulling it out, and then your machine goes boom because you pulled out the wrong upgrade. Now, talking about the overclocker upgrades, this is super important too, because overclocker upgrades will increase the time, or increase the speed of processing by 30%, but it's going to cost 60% more power. And that's quite a hit in the power, which is another reason why you might want to send it more power by upgrading the tier. Now, there are usually also tier upgraded machines. For example, this is the next tier alloy furnace, but they also have different effects and stuff that they do. So let's go ahead and use this alloy furnace. And let's just imagine for a moment that I placed this in the wrong spot. So I placed it here and I wanted it here. Well, that's where that wrench that we just synthesized is really going to come into play. Now, this wrench offers a 160% drop chance, meaning that we're going to get our machine back. Whereas the other wrenches could essentially not drop the machine. You could have a lower than 100% drop chance, and then that would happen. Now, these sides let us rotate. So you see we can actually rotate if it's blue. If it's red, it means break the machine or give it back. You can also shift and also rotate. So yeah, if it's red, it means it's going to break. If it's blue, it's going to rotate in the opposite direction. So that's another little cool thing to keep in mind with your wrench. And yeah, I've learned a lot about this mod over the years, and I've never really dived fully into it, but I've tried my best to at least wrap my head around it. Specifically in one of the last mod packs I played, or All the Mods Volcano Block, and that was an interesting kind of endeavor. And I learned a lot about this mod. Now, for sure, it will be impossible for me to know all of the ins and outs. So let me know down in the comments below if there's any tips that you found out that you think I might not know about. Now, let's put this alloy smelter to good use. And remember this coal coke that we had made a while ago, and we were collecting all of that creosote oil? Well, now we actually get to use that coal coke to make steel. So let's go ahead and hook this in, and we'll start producing some steel. And so we're going to need coal coke and iron. Now, notice it's not super fast, but if we were to put 4 of these upgrades in, we'll see our power go away. But we could potentially put 1 here. I think that's going to be enough power. But if I had the speed maxed out, let's take a look at this again. So let's put this in, and we notice that the speed is dwindling. Is my battery draining? That's the thing. My battery's not actually draining in this case. It's just, the machine itself currently can't handle the power. So I put the transformer upgrade in. It's not going to help either, right? What we need to do is we need to send it more power. And that is going to have to come in the form, I think, of cables. Now, here's what I wonder. We actually get quite a few upgrades here. And I wonder if we should just take the power that we have and convert our setup to the MV and switch to gold cables, which will support the MV tier. And all of our current machines that we're using should be able to accept this power upgrade, basically putting them on the next level. And this will allow us to send more power to these machines and put more overclockers in. So essentially what I should be able to do is pick up this block and pick up this block. And then I just need to replace it with the block that was just given to me. And so this is now building up with power, but it now supports 128 EU. Now these are relatively small numbers and easy to wrap your head around. And the tiers go up by 32, and then it goes to 128, and then 512, and then it goes up to the 200 or 2048, I believe. So these numbers are pretty easy to wrap your head around, but the part that we're so used to RF converting into this is where it gets kind of confusing. But to make this power, we're essentially converting the 4RF, which I'm assuming this is an RF power. This makes it even more confusing because knowing what this power actually represents, but it's basically converting that by dividing it by 4. Now to make the upgraded gold cable, it's going to be another machine, and this is going to be the wire mill. And this is our first time getting into this machine, but it is an extension onto the machine list that we're going to inevitably need. So I'm wondering, with this machine, we should be able to just hook it directly up, right? Let's grab some copper cables so we can convert our power line over. And I can just place it right here, right? Yeah. So we just add it to the list of machines. And this one is going to process our gold into wires. So that way we can make gold wires, which is going to be what our next tier currently is. And so 1 goes in, turns into wires, right? Gives us some nuggets. Ooh, we actually get 2 for 1 instead of what our copper was, which was 2 for 1. Now it's 1 for 2, I guess you could say. So we don't need very many of these cables. So 4 is 5. Honestly, 4 would probably be enough for right now. And yeah, we just need to get into our rubber and add that to the cable. So we're getting somewhere. We're definitely getting somewhere, I feel. There is our insulated gold cables. And let's pop back here, and we're going to add this now to our machines, making sure they have the transformer upgrade, because that would be pretty bad if they didn't. And, oh, we don't need to, I guess I'm standing on this, and wait. Oh, it's because these are just regular insulated, and so I was taking damage from these insulated cables. You got to be careful. These are just normal insulated cables. You have to prevent damage, you have to add more rubber to them. Oh, goodness. But now we should be able to see a significant improvement by adding more overclockers. Now you see that the power is not going down. So this is how you'll effectively be able to use the overclockers. And we'll notice that 4 overclockers is about all we can do right now. 4 or 5. 5 seems to be the cutoff point. So 4. So yeah, so we are now feeding this 4, and it's going pretty quick. And I don't know if it's going to be the same for all of them, or if we're just going to run out of power. I think it's going to be a per machine basis. And so we'll have to just account for that. So let's try iron. All right, we have tons of iron from our last mining session. So if I put this in here and macerate it, is 4 of them? 4 of them is going to be pretty fast. And let's see, we can add 5 before the power starts to run out. Wow, even 7. Okay, so it looks like 6 works just fine with this machine. And that is creating tons of resources for us. I mean, and it's going super fast. Like, that's pretty quick. Ah, here we go though. The 6 is making the other machines run out of power. So I'm going to say 4 is probably a good cutoff point for all of these machines. We'll just do 4 on the crush, 4 on the smelt. And yeah, let's see. 2 on this one. We'll have to balance it. It's a balancing game for right now. Eventually it'll be a little bit better. Now, after creating our first bit of still, we get a Stillrin Ankle of Resistance. Immunity to knockback we get on this thing, but it only has a 256 durability, which is interesting. And I wonder if we should probably keep that and save that for later. That might be helpful for like boss battles. Now, we might want to automate the processing of our ores, and to do that, I might want to put the macerator on top of the furnace, and then I want to have inventories that it can pull and send to. I think that would work out right. So let's now try and set this up. Let's also probably break the cables that are back here, as we don't want our machines blowing up because it's accepting too much power. So let's go ahead and try this. That was a good way of making a whoopsie. Let's place down the furnace. Now the furnace is, I don't think it needs an import upgrade because it should be able to accept what our macerator is exporting. So if we put an export upgrade in here and an import upgrade in here, we should be fine. That says press and click on the block to set the face. Let's do the export first, right? We want to export from the bottom. And this is telling me I need to right click on it in order to tell it where it needs to export from, which could be kind of bad to do that, I guess. Makes it kind of difficult. So the direction is set to down. I don't know if there's a way to do this without doing that. Is there? Just press to click on the block to set the face, press, click on block, and left shift to set the face on the opposite clicked. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so you can left shift to set the opposite. That would make it a lot easier when setting the sides. So I probably wouldn't have had to remove the machine here. So the import upgrade, though, we want that on the top. Let's actually try to shift click on the bottom. The direction set to up. And then on this one, just to demonstrate, that's direction set to the down because I shift clicked. And so it did the opposite of what you would think it would do. Nice. So both of those are set. And so what I should now be able to do is place a barrel directly on top here. And it should pull from the barrel. So is it going to? Yes, it's pulling from the barrel. Now, is it going to automatically send to my furnace? That's what I hope. So whenever we get the processing going, I'm hoping it's going to work. Now, I think it automatically deposits into hoppers. Like hoppers can automatically pull from it. So I don't need to focus on that too much. So let's put our upgrades in before we blow the machine up on both of these. And then I will put my 4 upgrades. Hook our power in. Ouch. Get struck by lightning, apparently. And it's now doing its thing. And we're going to notice the iron dust goes in here, but this is probably going to need an import upgrade. Oh, that's what I was hoping was not going to be the case. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, it does work. It just needs probably a certain amount in there. Because it did accept it. Yep, it's accepting it. Never mind. Look at there. So now we have somewhat of a simple processor. Now, apparently the reason it's slow is because, well, you need more of them in the slot to increase the amount of items that it can send at a time. So yes, it's going to be a lot of crafting. Now, these machines are currently slow, but the next tier up makes them incredibly fast. But to get to those, we're going to need some of these alloy plates, and we're going to need carbon plates for some other things as well. Now, to make these, we're going to need bronze, aluminum, and refined iron. That's not the problem, and then compressing them down. The problem is getting the bronze. Now, I think the intended method for getting and acquiring the bronze is probably going to be the metallurgic infuser. And for that, we're going to need to send 10 into here with copper, and that is going to produce bronze. And the metallurgic infuser is actually kind of easy to make. Now for this, I'm actually going to set them up here. And I'm going to set up 4 of them because I think 4 is going to be a good amount. And then we're going to need to get our cables up here. Let's see, I have just enough for one more. Nice. So that should get some RF running to this. And so now the big problem is coming up with the resources in order to make the bronze with. You know what? you gotta love this. I ended up making a enrichment chamber so that way whenever I do get 10, I can make better versions of it that'll last longer in here for the bronze. But the funny thing is, using these upgrades are too slow if you have the barrel here compared to just having a hopper here. So I might as well just have a hopper running between them instead of using the upgrades for now. I know you can add more upgrades, but the cost of the upgrades are not horrible, but it's a pain to craft. I thought that was kind of funny. So now that I've made bronze, we ended up getting quest rewards that gave us a bronze shield. Yes, this looks like an orange tooth, but is apparently a shield. It's kind of neat. I mean, that's a big shield right there. Like the bottom half of a candy corn. So now I have a little bit of resources. I can go ahead and start making as many of the mixed metal ingots as I possibly can, which is only these, the 20 of them. And then I need to make a compressor. So there's another machine that we need to add to our arsenal, and that is going to be the compressor. And then we can possibly go adventure because I'm going to let things compress. Now, before we head out, I want to go ahead and get all of this nice and compressed up so we can have the carbon also compressing while we go explore that fortress that we found last episode. That is going to be fantastic. So the carbon fiber, okay, this goes here, it makes the carbon mesh, and then the carbon mesh itself needs to get put into the compressor, and then we should start to see the things that we're going to need. And this is the advanced alloy. So while that's compressing, I have my area chunk loaded and we should be ready to go. Now, real quick before I head in there, I just want to simply enchant some things now that we have some lapis. So I'm just going to enchant it just a bit. Oh, wow. It looks like holding increases the amount that it can hold by a lot. That pressure just dramatically changed getting holding. So yeah, I had to refill this thing. That was interesting. But now we are ready to go. I think we should be able to handle. Oh, you know what we definitely need? We need this fire resistant charm, just to be on the safe side. Doesn't have a lot of durability though. I might want to bring some potions. You know, just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side. Okay, so let's go ahead and consume a fire resist potion, and we should be ready to go. All right, so off I go, and right over here is a fortress. I cannot believe it is this close to the base. I never get this lucky. But I want, oh yeah, that's why we needed that. So I want to look. This is not a normal fortress by any means. This is ridiculous looking. Okay. This is kind of ridiculous. Oh. Okay, withers are hitting hard. Withers are already destroying me. Okay, so don't go up there, as I just found out. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. So yeah, what I'm getting at is our gear is not that strong, believe it or not. Yeah, and we don't have any like wither resist. Oh boy. Now there are upgrades that we can potentially put on here that give us more protection, but this is just with the protection. We don't have any wither protection, and that spawns some massive withers. So I'm wondering, is there any like tunnels down here that like at least have loot chests? Because I'm not seeing the loot chests. However, I do have a module that will let me see nearby chests, so I should probably turn that on, right? Well, let's turn on block tracker, and then we'll be able to see what's going on down here and if there are any chests nearby. Okay, it's scanning. Like there's definitely inventories here. So 20 something inventories. Wow, there's a lot of inventories here. And apparently there's inventories here. Oh, that was not good. Let's get a better footing, shall we? So is there like coal blocks up here? Is that what this is? Oh wow, this is blocks of coal. But also soul sand. Thankfully the blaze, they don't bother us too much. I'm gonna break in here just so I can get to this chest. So this, oh, it has a nice bow. Has soulbound on it, a tier 2 bow. Okay, that guy's gone. That's a spawner. Is there more chests though? That's what I'm wondering. We just don't have the health, and if I lose my gear, we're wrecked. It's so hard to tell what's a wither skeleton. They look so different. They are some big boys though. Looks like a chest over here. Nothing that amazing. We did get some obsidian, but we've already had the ability to craft obsidian. A chromatic shard. That's new. That is definitely new. So yeah, I mean, at least exploring this is fun. This is just craziness though. So I'm guessing that there are spawners up here that are wither skeleton spawners. There's no way there's not wither skeleton spawners up on the tops, because there's a wither skeleton right there. Can I access the barrels? Oh, I can. I want to be quick though. Want to be quick. Can't even really look at what I'm harvesting here. Oh, darn it. I ended up getting hit. This is why I should have my shield on, shouldn't I? Because I could probably get through here quite effectively with just a shield. Oh boy. I make a shield and don't use it. Okay, so we are getting tons of cool loot. This is actually kind of worth it. So I'm on the other side. Oh boy, there's some good stuff. What is this? Watery soup? Who needs why would you eat watery soup? Who does that? Ooh! Oh, we got netherite scrap. Oh, another netherite scrap. Oh, we got a fast boy. Ooh! That's interesting. That's fully loaded, and that one's fully loaded. We would have to wipe the mob spawns by flying off a distance to reset their, to basically clear out all the mobs. Wow. That is so cool, though. So there's tons of chests up in those buildings. And we ended up getting ancient debris. So yeah, I think we're going to have to come back to this another day when we're a little bit more prepared, because I don't think I was ready for that. That is quite the business battle over there. But what all did we get that's actually worthwhile? So we got a nice bit of gold. So we did get the ancient debris. We also ended up getting a couple of things. So we got an emerald sword. That's actually better than the sword I have. And then we got this crossbow from mystical agriculture. Some tea leaves, which is pretty cool. Soul speed. And then we also got watery soup from IC2 Classic. I mean, I guess soup is watery, so that kind of makes sense. And some banner patterns. So yeah, we got a bunch of tea leaves. That's cool. Now, one of the interesting things we definitely got was the chromata shard. And this is used to make stuff from the chromatic arsenal. Interesting. There's a lot of really interesting things from this mod. I'm sure that'll be something we dive into eventually. Now, taking a look at our swords, we ended up getting 2 with Sweeping Edge and looting on there. That's kind of interesting. Now, all of our stuff should hopefully be compressed up. It looks like it is. Nice. So I think at this point, we might have everything we need. Minus, of course, getting our processor done. But we now have our advanced polymers ready to go, and all we have to do is make the advanced machine block. And just like that, there we go. And we end up getting some energy crystals, and we get another MV converter, which is going to be nice. Now this leads us to the molecular transformer, which we should be able to craft. So now we've made it to the inscriber part, where we now can make an inscriber. I'm going to place it right up next to the creative cell because, well, it's creative energy. And it doesn't show that it has any power until it actually initiates a craft. So over here, I am currently processing up quartz dust and just grinding down quartz. And then that's going to allow us to make the actual silicon. So there we go. And then all we have to do is put the silicon in here, and that is going to create our basic circuit. And then we're going to need redstone and a diamond. So redstone and then a diamond. And we'll have our first circuit before we know it. So this goes in the bottom, diamond, right? Like this. And we're going to end up, we're ready to go. Does this mean we're getting into applied energistics soon? I'm pretty excited if it is. So all we have to do over here is just simply place this inside and then let our robots do the work. Go assembly robots. You got this. Oh boy. And I already have all of the other stuff ready to go. So we should just be able to craft the molecular transformer. And this will be one of our next steps in our chapter of completing this mod pack and saving this world of Elyria. Oh man. Elyria. Elyria? It's Elyria. So there we go. We now have our processor ready to go. And last but not least, we just need to combine everything together to make the MT core. And last but not least, the molecular transformer itself. Voila. Perfect. And we end up getting Sunarium? If I can pronounce things right, from Solar Classics, and another gem. Very cool. Now, what exactly are the uses for this thing? Well, it can turn silver into gold. It just needs to basically charge up the item. And you see right here, it can convert different things from one state to another. Blue wool can be turned into lapis. And it looks like UU matter turned into this loosely entangled mass, and andesite into this, and red wool into redstone. Like, these are kind of crazy things, but we are going to need stuff. You can also make, looks like, double industrial diamonds. So once you've made those, like, it's a pretty nice thing to make. And it's specifically going to be useful for making this material, but also allows us to make Certus quartz crystals, which is what we're going to need to get into applied energistics. So now that we have this, we can start our production of those materials. And I'm thinking we can simply place this here, and this should allow us to charge those things. So if I grab some quartz, for example, I should be able to convert this over into Certus quartz. So I hope. It's going to take a little bit of time, as it's not a super fast thing at all. It's not going to be very fast, but it is going to work over time. And that's essentially what we need to happen. I better not go back here and get shocked. So yes, this will eventually turn into Certus quartz. And what we should be able to do is once we get some Certus quartz, we can turn it into a charged Certus quartz, combine it with some Certus quartz block, which we craft, and we get the charge from just simply charging it in a charger, drop it into some water, and we get a damaged budding Certus quartz. And then this we can continue to increase over time. And this right here will be ultimately the way that we sustain ourselves. Now, overall, I am pretty excited about all of this. We built up more infrastructure today and essentially completed our I'm firing my laser section, and we're good to go, at least here, which is going to lead us into applied energistics, which is kind of what I'm diving towards, because this is going to open up so many more automation opportunities. Not only that, it's going to be something that's going to get us out of that little box over there. Yeah, I'm ready to get out of that box. Now, guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I thank you so very much for watching, and I do want to say an amazing thanks to my supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Sephiros. Thank you so much for your amazing support, supporting me over on the Discord, one of the best ways possible of supporting this channel. Of course, outside of the merch, which you have linked down in the description below if you want to check that out. Also, join the Discord, discord.gg/ChosenArchitect, and join the amazing crew today. Guys, I appreciate you so very much, and I hope to see you in the next one. And you know how it goes. As always, thanks for watching. Bye!